Good morning then. Here's our next project. You're going to be really chuffed about this one. It's one of my favourite things I like to do. I call it sparkly water. See this sort of stuff on the wall? That's the sort of thing we're going to be looking at, okay? Or maybe even something like this. Obviously we're not going to sit and paint this, but what I will take you through is the technique to get this sparkly water, okay? This is the still we'll be working off. The next thing you see after this, there will be a still for you to look at properly. That's where we're going for, okay? So that's what we're going to do, that sort of thing. I'm going to take you through it step by step by step, and we're going to have great fun doing it, all right? Sparkly, sparkly water. Bring it on. Woo-hoo. Now we've seen what we're going to do. All the old lovely, lovely sparkly water. Here's my line drawn, very simple. You'll have a still of that you can refer to at the beginning, but it's basically a little bit of shoreline there, this side of the river, shoreline the other side, and the top of the, what's it called, hills. We're going to start off with the sky. So usual, here I go with my magic brush, like that. I'm going to keep the sky reasonably simple, and remember you're going to be, the colours you use in the sky here are very much going to be the colours you use in the water, it being the reflective surface that it is. And there we are. So here I am just nurturing my surface for the sky. Do this for a little bit. There you go, we've just gone away, I've come back now, this is 2 or 3 minutes later. I think I've fallen that. I'm just draining a bit off. We've done skies and surfaces before, so we're using exactly the same technique as we have in the other ones. Keep it simple, and I'm doing this nurture, nurture, nurture. Get a little bit more of that off, and I think we're probably ready for me to have a little pop at doing the sky now, okay? That's what's again just, and that sort of surface, so it's glittering, but it's not absolutely swimming with water anymore, but it's got a nice little glitter on it. It's going to take the paint nicely. So here I go with my, quite a big brush, I'd say about a 10, something like that. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow. We're sort of working from vaguely from this, we're going for something like that, vaguely, something vaguely like that, alright? Colours are totally up to you, don't be dictated to by the colours of your subject, do the colours that you want to do, it's all about what you want. So I'm mixing up a nice pale yellow, going across the bottom there, oh nice, like that, it's nice, isn't it? I need to get a slightly smaller brush now, so I go into my brush pouch, which I recently recovered from, it went on a journey to Bristol. I left my bag with all its brushes and all its paints on the train, and off it went to Bristol, and I've only just recovered them. So that was very exciting for the paints. No, I'm going to use that, yes I do. So here I go, just going to give this a little bit more, so I've introduced a little bit of burnt sienna there, just to give it a little bit of something along there. Nice, very nice, very nice. And I'm just going to have a sort of slightly purpley, crimsony sky to the top, which I'm going to mix that with my white. So I've got a bit of purple, bit of crimson, bit of white there, which I'm going to take a little bit of purple, a little bit of this crimson, and put it into the white. So it's that way round. I take the light, dark paint to the light paint. That's the way I like to do it. And now I've got a beautifully lilac-y, what's it called, which I can just, look at that. Brush is potentially a bit small, and you know what, I'm just going to call that a day. Maybe just put a little bit more darker at the top, just like that. That's an example of me using the wrong size brush, but I was just too lazy to get a bigger one. But that'll do you, and that's the sky done. Now what I would now do is wait for that to dry, But because I have this area here, which is going to separate, which is the land that separates the sky from the water, I might as well get on with doing the wash for the water down here, alright? Now, it's to get this sparkly bit of water here, we're going to need to leave a gap. So it's basically going to be 2 washes, but I'll do them one at a time, okay? So I'll start off this side. I'm going to use the same colours as I've used up there, but I'm going to go darker. So I'm going to introduce probably a Payne's grey. And I'm going to do it in a slightly colour wash so I can see where I'm going. So if this is, I'm just going to do this half first, right? So it's that half of a wash. A life on the ocean wave is better than staying at home. That's not how it goes. And that's this that side. So let's get some more of this. I've never actually done it this way before. I normally do my brush strokes this way when I do it, but I've just got a plane. So that's there. And a bit of purple. Gonna have to make it lighter, so a bit more yellow. I'm going to sort of turn it this way and work it like that. Oh. And then I'm going to work my darks on this side. So I've got a bit of grey there to go with my purple and my crimson. Remember, whatever colours you're using, that's what you use. Whatever you used in the sky, that's what you used. That's the key thing. Oh, look at that, lovely. I'm bringing it up there, and I will come across with my spark right the way to the top. You can do it again from the bottom. Like this. Bit more pipelet. Bit of the old pipelet. I got that from, I remember I was in a taxi in New York, and the taxi driver was telling me about how he knew everything about London. And he said to me, I know, because you got your Piccadilly cyclet. And I've always remembered that. And I use it quite a lot. Got your pipelet. I'm really beginning to ramble now, aren't I? But you see what I'm doing? I'm doing it again and again and again. I'm doing this at a slightly diagonal thing because I want it. The reason I'm doing this, don't worry about streaks, else the water will take them out. I know it looks like it's all going that way, but we're going to work ripples across the wash. The reason I've done that is because I like the idea of the light sort of coming in at this V shape. Yeah? So now I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side and hope we get the same results. So I'm putting another wash down. It's actually going to be quite a thick, wide area of, what's it called? So now we do the same again. That's I'm going to go from here. I need a bit more of the old burnt sienna just to get this sort of orangey effect there. Nice. And you're coming like this. Oh, perhaps a bit too bright, but I can easily dumb that down. See that? Let's clean the brush. Go again, go again. Oh, it's nice. Look at that. Now we'll come in with our dark from the bottom and move it back in. This is a révélation, which is French for revolution, by the way. No, I didn't mean to say that. A révélation. No, a révélation, which is French for a revelation. That's it. Not revolution. I'm not causing a revolution. And I think I'll probably run out of that crimson, so I'll do a bit of that. The trick is trying to get this wash the same as that side. And I've totally forgotten what the sort of ratio of what I use to what I use, so it needs to be a bit more purple, doesn't it? So there we go. That'll do for now. Up we go. Don't worry about going into your headland there, that's fine. Not yet, I'm just shoreland. There we go. That's not bad at all, actually. It's going to work. A bit crimsony, but you know. And then we just let all this lot dry, and then we're going to work on it. So that's your first section. We want to end up with something looking something like that, right? Be back in a minute. I'm just having a cup of tea. Ah, lovely. Right, so now we're going to enter this part of the painting, which is just the land on the other side of the river. This is for those of you who are interested in the River Tees. So I'm going to paint the sort of fields up here. There's two areas, there's the fields and there's a tree line next to the shoreline. So I'm going to turn it up round this way, put my wash on like that. And what I want to do here is the light source is sort of here, as you can see from where it's hitting the water. So I want this part, the middle part of the field, to be much lighter than the edges, alright? So let's have a pop at that, shall we? So just a very light wash across there, so it's just going to take the paint nicely. There we are. I'm going to go right in the middle to begin with quite a bright, quite a bright yellow. Got a bit of the old frog in the throat. There we are. Again. So it's really, look at that. Whoa! So just a big old, what's it called there. Now I'm going to go in with, around the edges a little bit with a bit of this, you see. So it looks like there's an explode, it's like a sunburst across the top of the, what's it called. And then I'm going to get a bit of the old olive green, I think. Put him out on the, what's it called there, like so. And then get him in, maybe even get a bit of that purple we use in the sky in there. Just here like this, see? A little bit down there. Nice. And then as it goes out towards the edge of the painting, clean my brush, get my rag, then we're going to go really dark. So there's a little bit of a, what's it called? So I'm darkening up my olive green now real dark to go in the corners here, like that, you see? Turn them round so it's really nice and dark in the corners. Now you see you need to get these bits dark in order to get the brightness of the light on the water. You're only as light as your darks are dark, or something like that. So here we go. So it's something like that. Nice. What I will do is just get a little bit of this green, maybe with a bit of the shadow, and just straighten that out there a little bit. Have maybe a little dash of something going through there like that. Nice. Now I'm going to wait to do the tree line, wait until this is dry, so I might as well just go onto this little bit of bank this side of the river, and that's going to be ever so straightforward. I'm going to put a little wash on like this. It can be any old wash, look, just so as it's quite nice. And then I'm just going to, with all my darks, which will be the Payne's grey, the purple and the crimson, just really plaster it on like this. Yeah, really nice. Maybe make it a little lighter here, because that's again where the light will be hitting that part of the land, even though it's still very sort of dark. I'm going to go on like this. Oh, that's quite brutally nice. Whoa, look at that. And now I'll bring the darks around and into it. Do you see that? It's got to be very, very thick paint here. Get a bit more of this Payne's grey out because I'm running out. On my palette, bit of the old purple, see, to go in there. So we're using all these colours. Lovely. Just moving my chair in a little bit so I can pour over my thing, and again to ruffle up the edges a little bit there. And that's just that bit of the sort of muddy bank. Give it a little bit of, we'll give it some more texture later. But for now we're just in the business of filling up all the areas really, getting ready to do the actual main event, which is obviously going to be this agua, which is of course Spanish for water. I'm a linguist as well, you know. There we are, look at that. And sweet as a carrot. A little bit of thing there. Still hard to imagine that we're going to turn this into actual water, isn't it? I'm now going to move back up to here and do the tree line, which is going to be even darker than the fields behind it. Look at that. Brilliant. It's coming over from this side as well, where it's really dark. I'm painting this sideways on so that I can get the point of my brush on the straight line. You want to keep that line as straight as possible. Okay, now coming back to this side. Look at that, really, really dark. Brutally dark. The darker you do all these bits, this seems to get lighter and lighter. I'm going to go in for the, when I go into the trees here, I'm going to make those a little lighter because again they're under the, what's it called? Source, the light source. Beautiful. I'm not going to do any tree line yet, I'm going to save that to the end. I mean across the top of the land there. I'm just basically filling in the area. Like that. And then I'll zhuzh it up later on. That's a bit clumsy line there. That's nice. And that's where you want to be, something like that. Now we've got to let all that dry before we move on to this area, okay? So we'll sit back and let that dry for a minute, okay? So here we are, looking at our waters area. Now, we can see very clearly, we've got 1, 2, 3 areas. It's clear as day, isn't it? What we need to do now is make it look like just one area, okay? So in other words, we've got to join this side to this side. There's various ways of stage steps to doing this. First of all, we're going to actually physically join this side to this side with some ripply, watery bits going across the middle. To do that, I'm going to use the shade exactly that colour, right, to go across. That colour, exactly that shade. Now let's see what we got here. Get a bit of white. So it's mainly sort of whitey, crimsony, purpley, whatever it was, whatever you used in your picture. So I'm going with a bit of this lot here now, I think. So there's going to be quite a lot of white, oddly enough. And I'm going, I'll get a bit more crimson here, I think. And hopefully that on the palette should be about it. So I'm going to go across, joining too dark. See, interesting. It's always darker on the palette than it is on the, and that's a bit purpley. So we get a bit more of that crimson in. Just a little bit more. So I'll put that on the little palette there, a little bit more crimson. And it's that white, you see, it's that white. I'm going to join that. That's a bit better. That sort of, oh, that joins in nicely. That's there. Then we're going to have another little one here. See that? And then one a bit higher up, but that's sort of lighter still and has got a bit more of the yellow coming into it here. So I'm going to get this white here and lighten it. So basically, I'm just joining it across. Still too light, still too light. You have to be very careful here. This is the tricky bit going across. No, but I like that. That works nicely. And I'm doing it in sort of ripply, sort of fat to thin. So if you've got that sort of thing, you see now we've jumped across. That's quite nice. Now I'm going to concentrate on the darker ripples in the water, and for that moment, I'm going to turn it over. I'm just going to get another little piece of paper and just show you the main principle of that. Okay? I always anchor my hand, thin, fat, and then come off the brush again, like a ripple, you see? So go in with the tip of the brush, and lower the blade, and then bring it up. Now if you're clever, you can then give a little flick back. So you're getting that sort of effect. Alright, so just watch that back, and then practice a bit before you get going on the main event, is my advice. So we're going to get the dark ripples in here, which means using what you've used, but just doing it darker. So I've gone back in with the purple and the crimson and the grey. Again, I'm doing it sideways. I cannot do those marks that way. I have to do it this way, which is why I'm coming in sideways. And that's a big old one there. Take your time, have a little look. Oh, we like. Another little one, and it's going to actually go in to there. Do you see? Again, we're going to come above it with just a one like that. Have a little look each time, maybe a little tiny one there. Keep having a little look, see how it's growing. I'm going to come out this side now, so come towards me. Don't go gung-ho at this, take your time over it. One little ripple at a time. If you've got your own intricate source work, do refer to it, but you're not going to get it exactly how it was in my thing, so I'm going to have a little there. You can start to sort of see what's happening. Yep, just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to move up so it's still nice and dark. I'm going to probably get a bit more purple. I've run out of purple in my mix up here. I'm only going to go to about here to begin with. We'll start crafting it with bringing the whites out, the sparkly bits in a minute. Right, so here we go. It's going to be dark still, so here I go up here. But they're thinner. Remember, the further away you get, the slightly thinner they become. I might even switch brushes in a minute and go to something littler. Come out this side. Whoa, a nice big one, but sort of thinner. Don't do anything there. Don't do anything silly. That was me talking to myself, by the way. Slightly lighter ones, smaller ones in between where it's sort of all waves are coming in. So you can start to see how it's beginning to grow, yeah? I've just knocked my old lid on the floor. Never mind. Right, let's have a little look at the old source work, just see how it, oh yeah, and then you get tiny little bits. So I've brought my little brush in to play here, which of course is dirty, it shouldn't be. And I'm going to bring sort of little bits of maybe breaking in a little bit more here, little thinny bits in between. Just the way to do this is just watch me do this 2 or 3 times. Don't take these ones all the way across, just bring them into the mix like that, alright? So you're just breaking up this edge, you see? We're beginning to break up these lines, you see that? It's all beginning to break up. We'll obviously need, you'll see where it is, it'll all come good. It's lovely. We're going to bring this one in here. It just shuffles across nicely, back in like this. So I just want you to concentrate on little sections, then we'll go to here, then further, and then further still. Now to come off here we need to go in dark again, but with all your crimsons in you. Just go across these little bits here so you join it up. This little bit comes in here, so you're getting really dainty now. Take this one into, this one will come out and into there like that. That's very nice. And that's got a little bit of something there. And you can see how that's all beginning to take shape. It's all beginning to take shape like it does. It's just a series of brush strokes. If you can do one of these brush strokes, you can do the whole thing. It's like a magic trick, I know, but oops. So that's that. Now I'm going to now move on to my white, which is, you would probably, for maximum impact here, you would probably want your titanium white. So that's what I'm going for. Okay, and now, watch this. This is only the first draft, as it were. You will be coming back to this at the end, to zhuzh, but you'll be surprised. So I've got my palette there, my white. Now I'm going on thick white here. It's virtually neat. Now I'm going where the white comes out here, so we'll take the white out there, and now we'll take the white out here. Yeah, donk, and then we'll put a little sparkly bit there, little bit there. This is where you start going, oh, 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 and then look, this one here. Oh, don't just dot away, bang, 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 bang. Have a check. Look, see where it's going to look nicely. It's starting to come together. Right, I'm coming around this way now to make it work on this way. So this one comes out there a little bit. There's a little glimmer of light there, that's there. Obviously there's something there, we'll probably have to do a couple of other little darker bits later. It's starting to sparkle, it's starting to sparkle. Bing, bing, and then a little one there. Whoop. I'm not going to do all the tiny ones yet, I'm just going to get it going, up and running, so as you can sort of see how it works. See that? Beautiful, isn't it? Ping, and ping, ping, like that. Very nice. You see that? See how it's working? And then this side. Now you can see how I'm breaking up the bit there. Take the bit like that. I will come in with some more dark marks later on. But you can see how it's beginning to, if we go sort of down the line here, straight, we haven't broken any of it, and all of a sudden we're going to start breaking this hard line up here. As it starts to need some more darks in there, obviously. So I'll come around here, just resolve this area here, again with my white, and basically it's painstaking, so I'm going to sort of concentrate on this bit for now for you, and then I will come back and do other little, you know, there's going to be more little fancy bits to do which are going to be really nice, but for now that would be enough, and then I'll move up in the same way. So what I'll do is I will move up in the same way to about here. So you're just doing exactly this to about here, then you slightly, or to about here, all right? So when you come back, I've got that bit done. I'm just doing the same, just concentrate, watch this bit a few times, and you just do the same up to here, right? But you get smaller as you go further back. So the lines get thinner and thinner and thinner. But when we get to about this area, the technique changes a bit, okay? So then we'll come back and I'll show you how to do that. But in the meantime, this is a good one, because from here, because you're advanced painters now, from here to there, you're sort of on your own. You're just repeating this, okay? But remember, as you go higher up, so my colour here changes. So I won't be going the purple across, I'll be going the sort of orangey across to about here, yeah? So good luck with that, and I'll come back when I've got to here. Right, welcome back. Here we are. Now you can see I've moved on quite a way here, but using exactly the same technique as I used, as I left you with. So basically I've just been going further back up the water, using the same techniques, but everything getting gradually smaller as I move up. I've got to this area here, which is still going to be using the same techniques, but smaller. So I thought I'd bring you back in here, and we'll have a little look at this. Just to tell you that probably from where I left to where I got to now, maybe 2 or 3 hours of work. So do take it nice and easy, nice and slow. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to show you the whole thing, because you'd be sitting there for 3 hours watching me doing the same thing over and over again. But like I say, we will come back to here. So I'm now going to put some little ripples over here. They're a little lighter in colour than they were down here, and obviously smaller because they're further away. So there we go, the same technique. Nice. Look at that, just filling it in, but give it a couple of little funny ones with a little look. You know, it might, sometimes it looks a bit like a shoulder fish, but you know, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And at the end, of course, if you want, you can put a boat on it. It's going back to that old saying of mine, how do you make your water look like water? Put a boat on it. Always works. Although if you do some water that's green, someone might say, why have you put a boat in that field? So that's that done. That was quite quick, wasn't it? So now I'm moving it right up to the edge here. Now I'm going to go across with a colour of paint the same colour as the background, not the same colour as the ripple, so that's going to be much lighter. I'm going to bring in a bit more of the old nipples yellow, like that. You see, then we'll do the little white bits in. First of all, we're going to break into the here with, say, something like this. It's probably a bit dark, you see. Always looks much lighter on the palette than it does on the, so beware of that. Breaking across with little thin ones, much thinner than we were using down here, yeah, because we're much further in the distance. This area here is wider, so we're going to put one there because that's more of a bigger wave. We'll maybe bring a little bit there. This is where I'll do a little bit of whistling. Whistling? I meant whispering. Whistling. There, like that, you see? Nicely. And then we still see these straight lines here though, can't we? I'll just get that right down. Listen to the cricket there, as I'm sure you all do when you're painting. Always try and get a little bit of cricket on, eh? Oh, sound of leather on willow, hey? Right, so here we go. I'm going to get my white out. So this again, this is my titanium white, because I want it to be, you know, have a little bit of poke. So it kicks a little bit, you know. So get my rag, clean my brush completely, and here we go. Is that the same as we did down here, but much smaller? So I've got this much smaller brush. So now we're breaking out in between the little ripples. See, like that, and then you have a little sparkly bit of water, like that. Every now and again out the corner of your eye you might get, ooh, I just need that bit there. Do that. So you're gradually building it all up as you go along. You might see a little bit here that needs another sparkle. And now back up to what you're working on at the moment. These are going to go out a little bit further, quite like that. So my sparkles are getting smaller and smaller, obviously, as I recede into the distance. You see how I've broken that side up now? And this side is still nice and flat. But you can see, when we left it yesterday, it looked a bit ooh, but you can see how it's beginning to really look like what it's supposed to look like. One of the nice things about this, painting this subject, is that it's a grower. You watch it grow, and you sort of, once you get going, you see where you're going, you know where you're going. It's really interesting. And then for now, all this bit will be pretty much done. So I'm carrying on, just putting it out there like that, subtly, little sparkly, dazzly bits, look. Obviously I'll come back and probably firm this up a little bit more in the end, but that will be, so look where you're putting these, don't just plop, 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 plop. Have a look where they're going. They sort of need to go one there, and I know what, one there on top of the ridge there, on top of the wave, another one there, another one there. Don't go too near the, if you do it all the way to the end, it will look like it's snowing all over your picture, and that will be rubbish. Right, so now we go into this last little bit here, which, because it's so far back, you really don't really see the ripples anywhere near as clearly. So I'm going to do a slightly different thing, just coming in a couple of rows, I think, of darker, what are they called? Wavy type ripple affairs. I'm sure that's not the actual phrasing you would use, but why not, eh? and a little bit of, got to get a little bit of the old that in. I like that because it's a bit dark, that. And then we're just going to bring in sort of like a line, just a sort of line like that. So it indicates maybe a sort of wave. And in the distance you don't really see a lot in these areas. Yeah, and then another one maybe there like that. Like this. So just doing the little lines. What you do is you just watch this back a couple of times as I'm doing it. Just make sure you know what you're doing. Simple as that. Look, one on there. Bring it across, carry it across this side. Shuffle it a little bit. Beautiful, look at that. Just to the end like that. And then what we're going to do, bring this one here. That's going to come in like that and bring it up there. And we're not far from the finish. Now, as you can see, so I bring this back over like that, you see? And so you can see that sort of thing. So we've pretty much gone all the way to the top now. But what I'm going to do now, of course, is bring these waves a little bit out into the white, like we have done all the way along. Quite like this with my little brush again. So give it a little bit of, like that. Bring this one out there. A little bit there like that. A little bit coming in there like that. So breaking up that final bit. Once again up here, sames. Bring it right across the top. It's nice. Like this. And make contact. We have contact. A little bit there like that. A little bit there like this. Just watch this a couple of times. See how I'm breaking this white line up on both sides. Thought I had a bit of paint on my hand and put it in the sky, but I got away with that. So here we go again. Another bit there maybe. Another bit there. That bit comes in there like that. Another bit there. So it's just breaking it up. So you can see it's all coming together. And now the last little bit really is when we take this white out of these bits, which is going to be much more in a sort of, rather than little dobbies, much more in a sort of line. And we're going to do it between where the ripples hit the water, hit the white water. So you've got two fingers of paint going into the white area there. We're going to continue the white out and take him across the top of that little ridge there. Look at that. And then we're going to do the same. I need a bit more fresh white actually. You need this bit fresh white now. And then we're going to, obviously as we're commentating on our work, we have to take it into a bit more of a whisper. This one I'm going to take quite a way, right across here, because I just think that would look really nice. See, once I get to the top, the light sort of spreads out a bit like that. So I don't want it all coming along all down here, but I don't mind it spreading out a bit at the top of my, what's it called? Like that picture. Don't know why I called it a what's it called. Quite clearly a picture. And there we are. Another one there. And then this right just under the tree line. So it just starts to do that sort of thing, you see. Like that. Now I'm going to come around and do the same on this side. Like this. Start from the top this time, because that's just the way it goes. Get a few little sparkly jewelly bits. It's very jewelled painting this. Like that across there. And you can do this to sort of any level you want. I might even do this even more detailed in a bigger painting, but I think for our purposes today, I think this is absolutely sound. I think this is as far as we need to go. like this, bringing it out, just those little bits. Let's take this one here, but let's have it going further across the top like this. Look at that, it's like a jewel. Beautiful. Bit more little bits and bobs. You get the picture. From here on in, you would just be tarting it up like so. Bing, 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 bing. That'll be a message. I'll look at that later. Oh, that'll be 2 messages. I'll look at those later. And that's what we're looking at. Now I'm just going to spread a little bit of light down here on this bit of the thing, with probably just a little scattering of orange, just maybe hitting the top of the... Oh, look at that. No, don't do that. Behave yourself, Mr. Skinner. I'm just going to always like to have just a little bit of mystery up here in the... See that? Money shots, you see. And then we're just going to have the odd little... See that where... That might be just picking up on the odd... There. Beautiful. Now this is all a bit bare, so to finish off, I'm just going to put a few trees along the top of my land mass there. I'll show you that'll look a lot better when you do that. So we do that, get a bit of the old green that I had, and I'm going to mix it with a bit of just brown or something, and across the top here, just have a nice little, it just gives a nice edge to the top there, and it's much more natural. Could do a little bit more work in there, but I'm not really going to bore you with that, because this is adequate, and it's a very nice little picture. That that's that. Look at that. If you want to get a little bit of tree going on top of there, remember you've got to really lighten it up. I'm going to lighten it up with a bit of this orange and a bit of that green, and you might have just a little something there like that. It's another message. See that? And that just really loosens that up nicely. I just need to take this one line further across here, like this. Bang, 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 bang. Maybe a little bit in there. Bit coming out there, just to give it a little bit more busyness there. Same over here. And I've got to say, that's not what I really had to say. I've got to say that's really done, isn't it? Nothing really much left for me to do but sign it, frame it, flog it. Hey!